I've decided to leave Miami. I have come to a conclusion that the best thing for me right now is to leave Miami and start over somewhere and really explore a brand new chapter for myself. If you have been following along for the journey, a lot of my content is about personal growth, growing into your own potential, really stepping into the version of yourself that you know you are capable of becoming in your life. And Miami was such a crucial chapter in my life of becoming that version of myself. In my earlier 20s, I decided that I wanted to change my environment. I left a very small town. I wanted to put myself in an environment or kind of like an ecosystem like New York City, Miami, LA. And I was really deciding between the two. And anytime I visited Miami, I was just lit up. I just could see myself living here. I always felt so alive anytime that I visited, and I knew that I wanted to live here. I truly believe that in order to step into our own potential in life, that we have to be willing to push our comfort zone and to really challenge ourselves out of everything that we've ever known. And this is what this chapter meant to me. I honestly did not want to make this decision, but I just think it's a long time coming. I feel like as I'm approaching my later 20s now, a lot of my needs have changed, and I truly believe that this is what this decision is all about, being able to really challenge myself out of what I've known. I also do think that I've become very comfortable in this environment and that in order to keep growing, I really need to challenge myself and put myself somewhere new. If you've been watching my content for a while, then you know I am a big advocate for changing your environment and really putting yourself somewhere new that is kind of the opposite of what you've always known your entire life. I really do believe that it is such an important factor for us to become the version of ourselves that we know we are meant to be, because as we push our comfort zone and put ourselves in new environments, that is how we learn to meet brand new versions of ourselves. Like when I chose to move to Miami, I never imagined that it would go this way. I knew it was going to change my life, but I wasn't really sure in what way or how. I have been very surprised by this experience. It has definitely challenged me a lot. It's definitely pushed me out of everything that's very familiar to me, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted that process of reinventing myself, of really expanding past everything that I've ever known, and I was 100% successful at doing so. It helped me meet a version of myself that I have always dreamt of becoming, but not in the way that I always imagined. And one of the main reasons why I am choosing to leave this environment is because I feel like it has served its purpose in my life and now I've outgrown it. When I originally moved to Miami, I just had a dream. I had a certain vision in my mind of who I wanted to become and what I wanted to achieve. But the second that I stripped myself from everything that was very familiar to me, I kind of lost myself. I didn't really know what I was doing with my life. I was very confused. I originally was pursuing a totally different career path, and I had ended up stepping away from it because it just felt really unfulfilling. And when I made that decision for myself, it was almost like a spiraling effect where a lot of other things in my life just started going out of control. And I feel like it was that in between phase that I really started to lose my own purpose in life. And now I know that it was exactly leading me to everything that I've ever wanted. Not only that, just becoming the version of myself who is actually in alignment with her own purpose and having more clarity in my life. So when I was originally going through all that, yes, I decided to step away from Miami. So I have moved away from this environment more than once. So the first time that I did this, I moved to Tampa. I moved to the St. Pete area, and it was much slower. And I had lived there for about a year. And after that, I decided, you know what? I want to move back to Miami. I want to go back and really build the life that I had always envisioned for myself, because I just felt like I wasn't done with Miami yet. And once I decided to move back, which it's been about a year and a half since I made that decision, I am so happy that I did. And it has truly been such an amazing experience. And I have allowed myself to achieve a lot of goals that I'd always envisioned myself achieving the first time that I came here. It feels really satisfying to be able to say that I achieved a lot of goals that my younger self never thought was going to happen. And now I'm living out a lot of those goals, but I would be lying to you if I didn't feel like something was missing in my life. I do have a lot of things that I've always dreamt of having, but there's also deeper things within myself that are feeling very unfulfilled. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I am just choosing to leave this city when my lease is up. I made sure that I dedicated my 20s to really expanding myself as a person, to pushing myself out of my comfort zone and having new experiences just in general. That is really why I chose to live here, is because I wanted to push myself. I wanted to challenge who I've always been, especially the identity that I've always had, because I grew up in such a different environment that I felt like really limited me as a person. And so I think it was really crucial for me to move to somewhere that's an ecosystem like New York City, LA, or Miami, like I mentioned before. I've just always felt very aligned with these type of environments, and they help me tap into the version of myself that I've always wanted to be. And as I've allowed myself to really have this experience, I'm realizing that as I'm growing older and really changing or maturing as a person, there are a lot of my own needs that I feel like need to be more prioritized in this season of my life. Living here has allowed me to tap into that side of myself that is very expansive, that dreams bigger, that really wants more in her life. But I feel like there's a whole nother side of me that has kind of been starved for years now, where I feel like there's a lot of my own emotional needs that are not feeling fulfilled here. And no matter what I achieve, no matter what I do day to day, whether I create a routine for myself or not, I have tried to really make this work. But no matter what, it just constantly feels like something is missing. I think that over time, my body has been kind of rejecting this environment as somewhere that I settle down or build a life. And I was ignoring it for a really long time just because I was so attached to it. And I absolutely love living here, which I think is the hardest part about it, is that it would be easier to leave if I hated it here, if I didn't like it, but that is not true whatsoever. I actually love it so much to the point where I wish I could stay here. I wish I could build a life. But there are just deeper needs within myself that need a lot more attention, and I just don't have that community here. I have really tried to build a community here. I mean, I've put myself out there. I've joined different gyms, I've gone to different clubs, I've gone to networking events, and now I feel like I just really want to prioritize a community in my life. I do believe it really is the most important part because there are a lot of things, like I said, that I have now that I've always wanted, but they are not everything. And yes, it feels good to achieve them, but it also is really important to be able to have a shared life, to have other people that can really enjoy those things with you. And that is exactly what has been really, really missing for me. I truly believe that this is such an important environment to put yourself in if you really want to grow because it has just so many valuable things, especially like the wellness community. But I realize that I just don't have those emotional ties here. And I'm just really, really ready for different experiences in my life. I'm realizing that I'm the type of person who may need to embrace different types of environments during different phases of my life. And it really is dependent on the type of season that I'm in. And so before, when I moved here, I was in an expansive season, meeting a higher version of myself, wanting to level up, wanting to really reach my own potential. And so now that I feel like I've given myself a lot of those experiences, it's now time to focus on a lot of the opposite things, like building that community, building that shared life, allowing myself to really settle down and build somewhere. I've also been a person who really embraces discomfort, and sometimes when I feel very, very uncomfortable in my life or unsettled, that usually means I'm just ready for a change. I would really love to know what type of areas you guys have moved to, what you've really loved. And if you've ever gone through this experience where you feel like you're in an environment that you truly love, but you just felt disconnected, you felt like something was missing, and what area you feel like really served you a lot better. Because there are different areas that I'm looking at now of where I want to go. Sometimes I think about spending another year just somewhere else to really enjoy the last year of my 20s. But then I'm like, maybe I want to build. Like, I feel like I'm all over the place. I just think that in general, I'm truly ready for such a change in my life because I also feel like I've become very comfortable where I currently am. And I don't ever want to become complacent. I don't want to ever feel like I'm settling. I'm just always a person that wants to constantly grow. And I really do believe that it is 100% time to change my environment. I've honestly been considering New York City. I even considered living in LA for a year to see what really fits me best. But above all, I've been really prioritizing New York City, I think, because it's very similar to LA and Miami, but it's also closer to where I grew up so that I can actually have that community again of being surrounded by people that are a little bit more familiar to me. I would just love to know what you guys think. As always, you know that I'm just always trying to level up, step into a better version of myself, and really embrace my own potential. And I honestly believe that this is the next step in my life to really reach that next level version of myself that I am constantly dreaming about becoming. I believe that I'm just always chasing a better version of myself. And I do believe that that is exactly what our life is about, is just constantly expanding, growing, and reaching new levels in our life. So just stay tuned for the journey and I will see you guys in the next video.